Hi traders, it's Alberto, and today's Friday, the 22nd of July. And today's video is on divergence. There was so many trades to be taken this week. I missed several of them and managed to capture a few today. But if you do not understand divergence, you're going to miss out on an incredible opportunity because divergence is really the holy grail of trading Forex. There's no other way to put it. Divergence usually work out. There were two setups that didn't work out today, and that was because of some fundamental news events, and I'll go over on the next video. But let me just show you the setups. There were several pairs on pound dollar, pound Aussie, pound Canadian, pound Swiss, Euro USD, and also I'll show you divergence setups that didn't work out, and I'll show you why. So the first one was today, the pound Canadian dollar, and here we have wave patterns that are going down and swing points that are going higher. Trend line break was broken. I actually took this trade earlier when price broke. We had this bearish engulfing candle. The blue line that you see, this perforated, represents the crossover on the 4-hour chart confirming this divergence. So I didn't even have to wait till price broke the trend line. I could have just taken this trade based on the bearish engulfing candle alone. But from this point to the low point, that was 138 pips. There's another trade set up back on the 19th. We have wave patterns again going up, and price action was flat. Didn't have to go lower, just had to be flat as long as the wave patterns are going up. And again, the perforated line represents the confirmation on the 4-hour chart. So I couldn't take this trade until the two lines on MACD on the 4-hour chart were crossing to the upside, and that was the entry about here, which coincides with the trend line break. So this is a trend line break, so the entry was about here, and that was about 230 pips. Pound Australian dollar was a good trade setup today. Again, here's the perforated line on the 4-hour chart confirming the 1-hour divergence setup. And this sold off all the way down. It probably will continue to sell off through Monday after the Monday retracement. Okay. Pound US dollar, the same thing. Here's the blue perforated line that represents the confirmation on the 4-hour chart. Two lines of MACD crossing to the downside, which happened before the divergence on the 1-hour chart, which was even better. I like to see those setups. And that was a nice trade. Broke the trend line, went down 123 pips. The exit was at the support of a few days ago. Pound Swiss, the same thing. Divergence, the blue line representing the 4-hour crossover, confirming the divergence setup. And that was about 122 pips to the support level right there. Euro dollar, this is a trade that was taken back on the 15th, I believe. There was the divergence setup, the blue line again representing a confirmation on the 4-hour chart that this divergence that you see on the 1-hour chart is valid, and this shot down for about 100 pips. Another trade set up on Euro Canadian dollar. We have divergence. The perforated line again represents the crossover on MACD on the 4-hour chart, confirming the 1-hour divergence. And I like this because it also coincided with the trend line break on the 1-hour chart. And the entry is when a candle closes above, and this trade gave us about 180 somewhat pips. Okay, this is very important that you become an expert on divergence setups, because it will give it is basically a no-brainer. You just have 4 or 5 steps to take. You look at divergence, recognize divergence on the 1-hour chart, then you flip over to a 4-hour chart to make sure that the two lines of MACD are crossing to the upside, which this blue candle, I don't want to switch charts, so I just put this blue perforated line to show you that's where it crossed over. That's the entry, and that is basically a complete reversal when you see divergence. So, and the targets would be the swing highs. So this, for example, this currency pair, notice that at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days that it's sold off, it should give everything back when you see divergence. Look at the other pairs. Pound Swiss went up 1, 2 days, 3 days, and just gave everything back from those 3 days. From the swing low that on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then gave everything back. Pound dollar, the same thing, went up 1, 2, 3 days, and then just gave everything back. Pound Aussie, this probably is not even finished yet because it started all the way down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. We have divergence on the 1 hour chart confirmed on the 4 hour. Technically, it should first hit these levels down here and then continue down to these levels. So that's what divergence represents, a complete reversal, just like head and shoulder patterns, double tops, and the pound Canadian dollar is the last one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3 days in an uptrend. And then we had divergence confirmed on the 4 hour chart. And price came all the way down close to the support. Not quite, but it did. But most likely will continue to head south next week. Now here's a nice setup that's starting to develop a New Zealand dollar. And let me just put it up here, USD, 1 hour chart. Perforated line represents a crossover on the 4 hour chart confirming this divergence. We have a trend line break, so hopefully this will continue to go up. So this is how divergence looks like. You have on a 1 hour chart. You can find divergence on any time frame. It always has to be qualified on the next highest time frame. I'm just focusing on 1 hour chart with a 4 hour confirmation. Here's divergence on the 1 hour chart. There's the confirmation on the perforated line. So now I'm going to show you what a divergence setup that did not work out looks like. Okay, so here is, let me just remove this line so I won't confuse you. Here's a divergence setup on a 1 hour chart on the same pair, New Zealand dollar. We have swing points that are going lower. We have wave patterns that are going higher. But we have to qualify this on the 4 hour chart. This red perforated line represents the two lines on MACD on the 4 hour that did not cross to the upside. Let me just go to the 4 hour chart. Notice here how they're angled and separated going down. So this divergence that we see on the 1 hour chart, notice it didn't work out. Never broke trend line, it just went up and then went lower a few days later. So you have to be careful. If you don't qualify these trades on the next highest time frame, they're not going to work out. So this one worked out because the two lines of MACD on the 4 hour chart have crossed to the upside. But this one here did not work out because there was no confirmation. So that's it for this tutorial. Please study divergence. It's probably one of the best trade setups in Forex, and I have several students that all they do is trade divergence. They don't do anything else because they understand that divergence has extremely high probability of success rate. And they appear once or twice a week. You just have to scan several pairs and find them. You have to know how to properly draw these lines. You have to know that these are swing points. You have to know what a swing point is. You have to know what the wave pattern is. You have to know that the swing points go in the opposite direction of the wave patterns, and then you have to qualify it on the 4 hour chart. And it's about 4 or 5 step process, and that's it. And then you're on your way. Thanks for watching the video. Have a good weekend, and talk to you guys next week.